So this week we heard the news that a California woman who had allegedly been kidnapped 10 years ago as a teenager by this man had reached out to her sister on Facebook and was reunited with her family. Now, we are not saying her name, and the details of her abduction and years in captivity are being investigated by police. But this case really does bring to mind other cases of kidnappings, like Elizabeth Smart in 2002. And I spoke to Elizabeth this week, asked her how she felt when she heard the news.
I have many feelings about it. On the one hand, it gives me great hope that we will continue to find and see survivors coming forward who have been gone for who knows how long. So, I mean, there's great hope. There's great joy that she is safe now, that she is no longer in this man's clutches. I also feel very protective of her because it's very overwhelming coming back, having all of this attention, having all these people know your name and think they know your story. And as well-meaning as it can be, it can be very overwhelming. So part of me wants to just go there and say it's okay and tell her to just don't feel pressured into doing anything. Just share your story or share what you want to share when you want to, and just do exactly what you want. Take your time to find that happiness, to find healing, to find that new normal, to find your new life, because it's not going to be the same. I mean, she can't go back to being 15. She now has a child, so it's going to be different from what it was. But just to take that time and to just find what's going to make her happy. So I'd want her to know that. But I mean, I also feel anger towards this man. I mean, I don't know how, I mean, I guess I do kind of know because I went through a kidnapping and I was abused and I went through the rapes and everything. And I mean, I was with people that were doing that to me, but it just makes me so mad that there are people out there every single day who are willing to hurt girls, who are willing to hurt other human beings and to take advantage of them and force them to do terrible things. I mean, that makes me really mad.
I can only imagine, and you'd hope there are more survivors out there that can be found, and that's what you advocate, is life after captivity. And before we talk about what that's like, let's talk about what it's like while you're in it, because instantly a lot of people out there jump on the fact that she was living in plain sight. Why didn't she reach out earlier? Why didn't she call out for help earlier? And you've been a strong proponent of what it's like in captivity. Tell us about that.
Well, this is just such a good question to ask, because when people say, well, why didn't you run and why didn't you do something? A survivor doesn't hear that. They hear, it's your fault. You should have done something. It's your fault you were gone for so long. Why didn't... That's what they hear, and they do not need to hear that. I have been physically chained up, and I have been held under threat of my family's life. And I can tell you, threats can be so much stronger than physical chains. For me, my family is my world, and I would do anything to protect them. And here I had been kidnapped successfully, I'd been hidden, nobody had found me, I had been raped, I had been starved, I mean, I'd been forced to do so many things. No one had ever stopped my captors from doing anything to me. I'd never seen them fail. So when they sat there and they'd tell me that they were going to go after my family and that they were going to kill my family, I believed them. I had no reason not to believe them. And I believe that this woman felt the same way. I mean, she was told that her family would be deported. Who knows what else she was told? I mean, she was severely beaten. She was raped. She was forced to marry this man. I mean, she went through so much. It's just...
Is it brainwashing? Is it a brainwashing that people can't understand?
I wouldn't say brainwashing. I don't want to go out on a limb and say that's what happened to her, because she did reach out to her sister on Facebook. You know, she was the means of her rescue and of this man's imprisonment. So I don't want to go out and say that she was brainwashed, but I will say that these threats can become so strong and life can become so painful to live. I mean, it just becomes so hard to stay on. I mean, to stay connected, your conscious self, to stay connected to your soul, if that makes any sense at all. It just becomes so hard to do that, that it's almost like you just almost have to let go of that, and you go into survival mode and you do whatever it takes to survive. So if that means putting on a happy face on the outside, pretending that you're a happy couple because that's what helps you survive, then that's what you do. And the outside is no representation of what may be going on inside.